When you talk to many Cadillac enthusiasts and people who value efficiency performance in cars, you discover that the Seville, produced between 1976 and 1979, is considered one of the most significant peaks in the brand's design history. This opinion is actually quite valid. The 1976-79 Cadillac Seville successfully showcased an aesthetic design philosophy that generally highlighted elegance, moderation, and a lack of exaggeration. This situation was particularly different from Cadillac's exaggerated style in the 1959 and 1960 model years, and even from the period that lasted from the early 1960s to 1965. The reason behind Cadillac's stylistic transformation was the impact of the 1961 Lincoln Continental. Ford's elegant and minimalist model had reshaped the concept of luxury cars of the era and had not left Cadillac out of this restructuring. The 1976-79 Cadillac Seville achieved great commercial success during its production run. Seville was so successful that General Motors' design department applied the model's characteristic roofline to nearly every vehicle it produced for years. The traces of this influence were strongly felt until Ford launched its 1986 Taurus and Sable models. However, the aerodynamic design revolution that came with the Ford Taurus and Mercury Sable completely changed the direction of automotive aesthetics. This new design, shaped by the Ford Taurus and Mercury Sable, created a fundamental change in car design by focusing on rounder lines, smooth surfaces, and aerodynamic efficiency. This transformation marked the end of General Motors' long-standing dominance in design based on sharp lines and characteristic roof forms. Seville deeply affected General Motors not only aesthetically but also strategically. However, it must be said that this second effect was not so beneficial for consumers. GM, based on the extraordinary sales success of the Seville, was completely convinced that it could truly transform an ordinary platform into a luxury product. Indeed, the foundation of the Seville was based on an extended Nova chassis. This assessment might be a bit of a rough summary of Seville's infrastructure, but it is fundamentally correct. Everything started with Nova's X-body platform, and then Seville received a 3-inch wheelbase extension. However, the situation is not that simple. Although the Chevrolet Nova chassis was used as a base, detailed changes were made at many critical points, especially in vibration isolation. And indeed, when you drive a 76-79 model Seville, you don't have to feel the vehicle's modest beginnings. Cadillac impressively succeeded in producing a truly luxurious and comfortable vehicle from an ordinary platform. From this perspective, the Seville stands out as a truly commendable example of success in both engineering and design within the conditions of its time. The interior of the Cadillac Seville was just as magnificent as its exterior design. Optional leather seat upholstery, extremely soft and high-quality door trim panels, thick and rich carpets, and of course, the Cadillac-specific dashboard and steering wheel were available. When you sat in the driver's seat, you truly felt like you were in a high-quality environment. This perception of quality was so strong that the Seville could easily compete with the most expensive American cars of the time. However, there was a paradox in this understanding of luxury. Cadillac Seville, despite its size which could still be considered large today, could create an unexpectedly suffocating feeling in the interior. The door panels and seats were so thick and padded that there was hardly any room for a tall driver to move. This sense of fullness provided by the luxurious materials elevated comfort to its peak, while on the other hand, it created a noticeable restriction in terms of interior space. This needs to be said clearly. Cadillac Seville could have looked very different from its final production version. We have a very interesting early prototype bearing the Lille badge. On the front panel and fenders of this prototype, you can see the Lille logo. According to personal assessment, this prototype had an even more attractive design than the production Seville. It has an extremely clean and pure body design. Incredibly thin A and B pillars stand out. Today, no vehicle can meet roof crush standards with this structure, but at that time, it was aesthetically captivating. The vehicle is stylish, simple, and balanced. There is no body side molding, although this detail is not surprising considering that Cadillac dealers always manage to convince customers to check that option box. The closed form of the rear fender skirt stands out as a highly impressive design element that perfectly reflects the era's understanding of personal luxury automobiles. This process should also include the truly impressive illustrations prepared by designer John Gable. These drawings seem to foreshadow the 1992 Seville that would come years later. Especially when excluding the double-grooved hood details and the front section, the overall roofline proportions and silhouette evoke that 1992 Seville model. Indeed, these seemingly coincidental continuities in history are fascinating. The lines a designer sketched on paper years ago come to life as if through a natural evolution when the time is right. As a result, the Cadillac Seville that emerged offered an extremely stylish and tasteful design. However, it was still possible to say that it fell somewhat short of expectations for some segments. And here, the true hero of today's topic steps onto the stage, the highly special and unusual version of the 1978-79 Seville. The focus of this section is not the standard 76-79 Seville. The standard Seville was already an extremely attractive and valuable vehicle in its own right. Let's say you wanted something even more luxurious. Because you were already paying an amount equivalent to approximately $65,000 to $70,000 in today's money to buy a Seville. If you were looking for a car worth about $0,000 in today's value, around $0,000 in 1978-79, you would come across a rather unusual option. The answer is quite interesting: you would buy a Gucci Seville. Yes, you heard it right. Gucci Seville. Now, let's take a closer look at this interesting and bold version. The Gucci Seville offered for the years 1978 and 1979 was not a factory option or a special production factory version. A company called International Automotive Design, believed to be based in Miami, Florida, was taking standard Cadillac Seville models and transforming them into this extremely extravagant version. Calling it a masterpiece might be a bit of a stretch, but it was at least one of the most expensive aftermarket conversions of its time. You were really paying a serious price for this transformation. In 1978, prices rose to around $0,000, and in 1979, to $2,000, equivalent to over $0,000 in today's money. So, for a standard 78 or 79 model Seville adorned with some Gucci accessories, you were paying a six-figure amount in today's money. So what exactly were you getting for your money? One of the first perks you received when you bought a Cadillac Seville Gucci Edition was a specially designed luggage set. This set was directly prepared by Gucci and consisted of 5 pieces, perfectly sized to fit the Seville's trunk. The Seville's trunk isn't actually that big. The vertical height of the rear quarter panels is not very high, and therefore, when you take into account the spare tire, which was a compact space-saving spare tire used in these vehicles, the trunk capacity is approximately 14 cubic meters. This value is almost the same as that of a typical sedan today. However, at least you were getting Gucci brand suitcases specially designed for that trunk. This, in a way, shows the internal consistency of the luxury world. When you look at the Cadillac Seville Gucci Edition from the outside, you notice that the striking details seem to be a deliberate showcase. The unique wire wheel covers with the Gucci logo in the center appear to have been custom-made, with the standard Cadillac wheel cover centers removed and replaced with Gucci emblems. To reinforce the general luxury vibe of the rear, there is a half-padded vinyl roof or a vinyl roof on the rear door. There is a gold-plated Gucci logo hood ornament, extravagant, flashy, a bit tacky, but at least it's gold-plated. In addition, right behind the front wheels, on both sides of the Seville inscription, there were Gucci logos positioned. When all these details came together, it was clearly evident that the vehicle conveyed a single message: this is not an ordinary Cadillac Seville, it's a much more special and extravagant interpretation. Now, let's take a closer look at these details and shift our focus to the 1979 Cadillac Seville Gucci Edition diesel version. In this vehicle, someone really wanted the best of everything. They wanted both Gucci luxury and fuel efficiency together. Can you imagine, both Gucci and diesel? Although it may seem like a paradox, perhaps it wasn't meaningless considering the conditions of the time. When you take a closer look at the hood ornament, that magnificent and equally extravagant Gucci logo immediately catches your eye. When you zoom in a bit more, an even more exaggerated image appears, but this is what you are buying. At least this ornament should have been gold-plated, so it can be said to have some material value. Then we look at the badge behind the front wheels. Again, there's the Gucci logo. You must inform your friends that you don't have an ordinary Seville, but something much more special. And the Gucci logos were more than clear in fulfilling the task of conveying this message. As you pointed out, this vehicle is not just an ordinary Cadillac Seville, it is also a version with a diesel engine. That's why you see the diesel badge on it. Unfortunately, the owner of this vehicle opted for the diesel option, which means it has a 350 cubic inch Oldsmobile source diesel engine under the hood. In fact, the engine in the gasoline Seville was also sourced from Oldsmobile, but this diesel version produced only 120 horsepower, the gasoline engine had about 180 horsepower. For a car weighing around 1,900 kilograms, these figures were quite limited. The result? Reaching a speed of 0 to 100 km per hour took about 18 to 19 seconds. This figure is truly dramatic, especially considering the conditions of the era. The experience you described perfectly summarizes the character of the Cadillac Seville diesel. Indeed, this car was designed for a calm and economical drive, not for speed. When you wanted to overtake on a two-lane road, you had to fall back, even keeping up with the flow of traffic sometimes required serious effort. On the other hand, fuel consumption was really impressive. I was getting around 9 to 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers, which was quite good for that time. So there was a clear trade-off. You were completely sacrificing performance, but you were gaining a significant advantage in fuel economy. Finally, let's take another look at the vinyl roof. This is what you get in the Gucci edition. It is made of signature Gucci fabric. You can also see the Gucci stripes and the Gucci nameplate added to the lower driver section of the trunk lid. Additionally, the wire wheel covers unique to this model are also striking. Now that we move to the interior, we reach the point where the Cadillac Seville Gucci edition truly reveals its character. And yes, the real show starts here. Now let's move to the interior. The real fun starts from here. Perhaps the most ostentatious and controversial element of the interior design is the ceiling clad in signature Gucci fabric. Even the standard Seville was extremely successful in this regard. It used a beautifully woven fabric embroidered on the ceiling beams. At that time, many General Motors cars had switched to that famous mouse-furred headliner, which tended to sag over time. Seville, on the other hand, preserved this quality fabric as GM's most expensive car sold outside of limousines. As expected, the Gucci edition featured the Gucci print on the headliner fabric. There is a reading lamp in the C-pillar. This was standard on the 78 to 79 Seville. But Gucci fabric was also used there. The same printed fabric also catches the eye on the headrests of the front seats and the B-pillar. A Gucci emblem has been screwed onto the B-pillar, right above where the seat belt emerges. When all these details come together, the outcome is quite clear. This car is designed to remind you that you are in something special, not only from the outside but also with every second you spend inside. The showiness in the interior continues without slowing down at the detail level. In the Cadillac Seville Gucci edition, Gucci fabric has been used on both the front and rear armrests. In other words, you feel this luxury signature at every point of contact. A small but noticeable change has also been made to the steering wheel. The 79 Gucci edition has a two-spoke design, while the 78 model had a slightly different wheel design. The dashboard has fake walnut trim, which was standard in the Seville. However, there is also a later added Gucci nameplate. The converting company removed the Cadillac logo and replaced it with a gold-plated Gucci logo. A badge stuck on the steering wheel as a symbol of luxury and high fashion. I'll leave the interpretation to you. Would I really pay for this 00000 Gucci Seville? Honestly, no. And this is probably the most consistent explanation for why only a few hundred of them are sold each year. Can you imagine spending 00000 in today's money and getting this? At that time, car financing was done over 3 or 4 years, not 7 or 8 years as it is today. Therefore, it is quite likely that a significant portion of those who preferred this special Gucci edition purchased the vehicle outright. Because, looking at the buyer profile of the period, this car was already a niche product appealing to high-income groups seeking a status symbol, not to the general public. Unfortunately, a Gucci version of the completely redesigned 1980 model year Cadillac Seville was not produced. The primary reason for this was the sales figures. The results obtained were not strong enough to justify the continuation of this expensive and niche transformation in the new generation. And the Gucci Seville, much like the distinctive ostentatious luxury of the 1970s, slowly faded into the pages of history. I don't think Cadillac produced a designer edition-like vehicle after this model, maybe if you include the Alante designed by Pininfarina in this category, but it represents a very different concept. On the other hand, other car manufacturers have continued this kind of collaboration. Chrysler offered a Mark Cross leather interior in the 1981-83 Imperial model. Lincoln, on the other hand, produced various special edition vehicles over the years in collaboration with prestigious brands such as Cartier, Bill Blass, Givenchy, and Pucci. Cadillac's approach to this was somewhat unconventional. The transformation was carried out by an aftermarket company. This situation simultaneously explains both the uniqueness and the limitations of the Gucci Seville. Gucci Seville perfectly encapsulates the consumer mindset of the 1970s, the eras the more, the better philosophy, and the deep yearning for status symbols in a single vehicle. Perhaps that's why it remains interesting today, because it represents more than just a car. A concrete historical document reflecting the social and cultural dynamics of its time, showing how the concept of luxury was constructed and marketed. Seville's basic design was elegant and measured. The Gucci elements added to it, on the other hand, were exaggerated and ostentatious. The coexistence of these two opposing elements makes Gucci Seville both contradictory and a product of its time. And perhaps this contradiction is its greatest charm. On one side, Cadillac's disciplined design philosophy, on the other, Gucci's emblem embedded on every surface. What does the combination of these two signify? The answer might be this: luxury is not always rational. And this will continue to be one of the most interesting facts in automotive history. Support the channel and subscribe. If you like this video and this type of content, don't forget to subscribe right away. By pressing the subscribe button, you can instantly be informed about all the new content we prepare regarding Cadillac, American automotive history, and the world of luxury vehicles. Every week, we invite you to join us on this passionate journey with our detailed reviews, historical analyses, and rare car stories.